Hello, everybody. My name is Danny Richter, and I'm CCL's Vice President of Government Affairs, here with another legislative update. It was reported over the weekend that Senator Manchin has told the White House he cannot support a Clean Electricity Payments Program, or CEPP. This has a lot of people speaking in apocalyptic terms, but let's look a little closer at this. Also over the weekend, you have this quote from Senator Wyden, who is chairman of the Finance Committee, as reported in E&E News. Well, quote, while I strongly support the Clean Energy Payment Program, it's important to note that the overwhelming majority of emissions reductions come from the energy tax overhaul in our Clean Energy for America Act, Wyden said in a statement, end quote. Now, this is interesting. If you're like me, then you notice that in estimates of emissions reductions that we've seen in the recent past, the CEPP was frequently paired with tax credits. This happened in the pie chart released by Majority Leader Schumer's office earlier this year, which added up all the policies Democrats were proposing, and it got to only a 45% reduction below 2005 emissions by 2030. So it was 5% short of Biden's goal of a 50% reduction below 2005 emissions by 2030. You also saw this pairing of the CEPP with tax credits in the RFF study that looked at a carbon price, the CEPP, and the tax credits that Wyden is talking about. Now, certainly one reason you might pair these policies together is because there was and there still is a lot of uncertainty about what the CEPP might look like. But this can also be another way of hiding weakness of one of those programs in terms of emissions reductions. And if we take this statement by Wyden at face value, it would appear to confirm that the tax credits were a much more significant driver of emissions reductions attributed to those two policies than the CEPP. Now, of course, this is not the time to be casting off climate policies. We want to get as much as we can to reduce emissions as quickly as we can. But this does indicate that the loss of the CEPP is not as cataclysmic as some of the reporting is making it seem. A lot of these stories have also been mentioning a carbon tax in the same breath as they announced the apparent death of the CEPP. For example, the title of the New York Times piece was, quote, Democrats weigh carbon tax after Manchin rejects key climate provision, end quote. Ever since Majority Leader Schumer released that pie chart that fell 5% short of Biden's goal, it's been clear that the Democratic climate package needs a little bit more oomph. And it's been equally clear that a carbon price was really the only thing that could give it that oomph. It is also clear that it could be scaled to a level that more than makes up for the loss of the CEPP, which, Manchin notwithstanding, still had large uncertainties around it regarding whether or not it was reconcilable, whether or not it could get past the Senate parliamentarian. There is no such uncertainty that exists for the tax credits, for a carbon tax, or for a methane fee. Some of you may have also seen the news about Senator Manchin saying a, quote, I'm doing a lot of quoting in this update, quote, a carbon tax was not on the board right now, end quote. And to me, if you look at the video of this, it's pretty clear that he's just saying it hasn't been discussed. He's not saying that it's dead on arrival. So I really wouldn't worry too much about this statement. But I'm also not going to sit here and promise you that this is all going to work out. It could be that we don't get all the climate provisions we need in reconciliation. It could still be that we don't get a reconciliation bill at all. It could even be Senator Manchin who kills this. It's possible, and nothing I can say can convince you otherwise, nor should you believe anything I say, because I can't promise that. I can't promise good future outcomes. Instead of focusing on that, personally, what I do is I choose to focus on the fact that the national political dialogue, all the minds in DC are focused on reconciliation. Our issue, the policy that we at CCL have been working on for over a decade, is in the headlines of papers like the New York Times as the piece that could save the climate provisions. It is not the case for every organization that their issue becomes this relevant. But it is also the case that relevance comes with a price. The next few weeks and perhaps months are going to have a lot of moments like today. And you can choose to wring your hands about it, or you can choose to be grateful that the issues that you've been working on for so long and care so deeply about are so close to the discussions that are determining the course of this nation and indeed this world. And then you will get to tell a really good story to future generations about your role in all of that. And if the stress is still really getting to you and making you sick to the stomach, I do have to say that lemon rosemary sea salt bread does a great job of settling the stomach. And if you need something else, there's also antacid tablets. So just remember, it's going to be rough. This is the point where people are going to be throwing out solutions, and they're going to be trying to increase in their bargaining power within Congress moving forward. So we're going to have more news like this. So after you finish your slice of bread or you finish chewing your antacid tablet, what other actions can you take as an antidote to the paralysis that you might be having due to worry? Well, here are 4 timely suggestions. Number 1, write letters to the editor responding to this news and other news that you might be seeing in your local papers. Number 2, write to President Biden saying you want to see a carbon price and reconciliation and that his 50% reductions goal by 2030 is a goal you support. Number 3, help out with our phone banking and text banking to generate more contacts to Congress. And 4, you can also people to check out this budget reconciliation actions page. I believe that people are superimposing that on my smiling face right now on CCL community to find stuff that you can do or they can do to help. So those are 4 things that you can do right now to really feel like you have some agency in this tough time. And it's going to be a bit. It's going to be a few weeks, possibly some months before we're out of this. But again, you can choose to be glad that you have such a front row seat to history. And that's how I choose to orient myself to this. So thanks, everybody.